Hey YouTube! Nighttime video now, no daylight, so the colours are all different, so you can see it's kind of maybe, I think that guitar there looks actually closer to the real colour that it should be than it does during the day when I'm looking at the screen, although I'm not sure my monitor's very good. Anyway, this is an Ibanez gax30, made in Indonesia, I09, so it'll be a 2009 model, I think. Looking at the serial number. Yeah, so I've got this in. A pal bought this from a guy who said it'd been in a cupboard for many years, and he wanted me to clean it up, set it up, and put new pickups in. So what it turned up with is a warman. You'll have to look it up to find out what the actual model is. I don't know. Blade humbucker, but it's probably got some cool name. A lot of the warmans do, Dominator or Threatener or something, you know. And this white pickup, the pickups the stock pickups in this are black, and I had a white humbucker that I just put in to make it look better. Really. So this guitar, it's an Ibanez Geo, I should probably have said. So I think the Geo are the sort of, not quite Squire to Fender, but the sort of cheaper end Ibanez guitars. I've definitely seen these before, but I've never actually played one. Shape wise, it's not actually a million miles away from the old Washburns, but more to the point, it's I've got a Hondo bass, which you may have seen in my videos. It's painted like a tiger. Hondos never have a name. It's a 1060, 1080, something like that. But it's a bass. It's very much this shape. There's also a guitar version of it, 1030. Can't remember, but it's got this kind of shape. So it's sort of an SG. Dave Hill and Slade played a Gibson. It wasn't an entirely different shape to this as well. I like the headstock. It's got a much straighter string pull than a Gibson does, and I quite like this sort of flat with a wee dinker in the top. It's also got so you can see the truss rod cover. If I can get the problem is the lights behind it. I'll do that. Can you see it? You can see the truss rod cover there. So to get in at that, you just take the strings off. There you go. So it's like a wee plastic door. Which if I wasn't trying to do it at a funny angle, you can see it. If I get the light right, you can see it opens up like that. It's the wee slidey door, which is pretty cool just to get in it. Yeah, it's got a scarf joint in the neck, an angle back headstock. So if you look, see again the lights behind it. That's I'm gonna have to put a light up there, most definitely. Bolt on neck, through strung like a Telecaster, which is nice, and a hardtail bridge, 3-way lever switch, volume and a tone. Kinda that's really all there is to it. If I could see normally when I say if I can find my tape, I normally find it really quickly because it's normally lying about there and it's neon orange, but I don't see it. So you'll have to look up specs to find out what scale it is. I'd imagine it's 24 3/4 Gibson scale, but that's just a guess. So this has funny strings on it. Titanium reinforced technology, Ernie Ball coated slinkies. They're a bit heavier on the low end. The normal strings I use normally go to 10 to 46. These are 10 to 52. So I think the 52 and the 42 and the 30 are thicker. They're like from a set of 11s or 12s, and then the 10s are the first three strings are just your usual 10s. But there you go there. It's 26, 36, 46 on a set of the strings I normally use. So instead of that, they're 30, 42, 52. So a bit more rugged-dugger. The guy's in an anthrax, arranthrax. You can see them. I really don't know anything about anthrax. I wish I did. He wants me to set this up in drop C sharp tuning. It's not just now, so that I can play it for this video, but I'll do that later. I'm not going to set it up. All I really did was I swapped over the electrics, cleaned the fretboard, paused the frets, had to tighten up the tuners. The only thing I'm not super happy about the tuners on this are the sort of the cheap crappy type. But as I was saying to my pal, I've never actually had tuners that have slipped. The thing about having nice tuners is when you're changing the strings or when you're tuning it, they feel really nice. So yeah, but they don't, once they're in tune, I've never actually had tuners that have slipped. I've had ones before that when you turn them, you know what I mean, they kind of crunch and they don't turn properly. They go straight in the bin. But even the cheap ones, I mean, they're not doing anything. They don't do anything to your sound. It just makes it much nicer when you're changing strings. And I don't, as this is a budget guitar, it's really the only thing I would have changed. Well, I'm saying that the pickups are changed; they seem to be pretty good. But it's white, which is nice. I quite like the knobs as well. They are plastic, but they're quite interesting looking. And a 3-way blade. I didn't go for any crazy wiring options. I don't think. To be honest, I think the guy's only going to be using the bridge pickup anyway on full whack. So I've got the rat pedal on, playing through my wee Lady DC15, and I'll play some Anthrax. Okay, well, because I have no idea what any Anthrax songs go like. They're not like that. I'm noticing it's got slightly thicker strings than what I'm used to. On the neck pickup, this is just one from a parts box. I bought like 10 of these pickups off somebody about a year ago. That's why you keep seeing me doing guitars. I've got lots of white pickups in them. It's not bad. So that's the neck and the bridges. It's actually quite a good match, I would have thought. Sounds like I haven't let it sit long enough before I started tuning it. Or that might be the intonation sound. The D's going. So I do need to set this up. I haven't set up the intonation on this, so it might be a little bit out. The guy who always points out, you can hear that my guitar's out of tune, intonation wise. Yeah, okay, it's not quite right. That's alright. Okay, I will set that up later, so I'll just play down here. The neck is very much a Gibson SG, or it's very much like my Gibson SG, which is a mid-90s special. Apart from it's maple neck, it's a sort of satin finish, which I much prefer the really high gloss ones, but you don't get that in modern guitars. But in conclusion, white guitars are cool. The cheaper end Ibanez's are always pretty good as well. I've had a couple of Geo. I've got an RG321, sort of inexpensive ones, but I mean, you can't really fault. The fretwork's always good, and this one, I mean, I would say the only weak point is the tuners. And I suppose you could argue that, well, not really, you're not going to argue, but the hardtail bridges are obviously much cheaper than putting any sort of tremolo on. But I prefer a hardtail. I haven't used a tremolo for some songs in the band I'm in just now, but I can actually see looking at that the intonation's not quite right. It's been messed about with. But I'll set that up. But if you're talking about a beginner's guitar, I think it's an excellent choice. I'd imagine price-wise these are probably about the same as your sort of cheaper end Epiphone Les Paul Special 2 type thing. The disadvantage with this is it's not the shape. You know, it's not an SG and it's not a Les Paul or a Strat or a Tele. So, you know, if you buy it brand new, it's not going to keep its value the same way if you buy a Telecaster would. That's one of the reasons if anyone's going to be buying a brand new guitar, well, I wouldn't actually advise anyone bought a brand new guitar, but if you're going to buy a brand new guitar, buy a Telecaster, because you never get Telecasters cheap. If you buy a cheap, you know, like a Squier Strat or something like that, it's immediately worth sod all when you try and sell it 6 months down the line when you don't want to play the guitar, whereas a Telecaster kind of keeps its value an awful lot more. That goes an awful lot more for seeing an awful lot of your sort of lesser known makes, your sort of Stags, and you know, ones that kind of look, well, that's a bitch, you know, ones that sort of this sort of look where it's kind of, oh, it's sort of like a BC Rich or something, or sort of, you know, a company no one's heard of. That'll just, buying it second hand's a great buy because you can pick them up for sod all, but buying it new, even though it's as good it's a similar level guitar to this, it'll just lose its value almost immediately. Ibanez is a funny one because Ibanez to everybody, including me, just says Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, whoa, pointy, 24 frets, finger tapping and all that, whereas this is basically far more Gibson-y, even though it is a bolt-on maple neck, but it's as opposed to being a super Strat. I'm not sure if this video is going to make it up actually. It's sounding out of tune because I've noticed that the intonation's off. I might have to do, in fact I might do a cover with it tomorrow. I'll do a cover with it once I've sorted out the intonation, set it up to, I'll do a cover in drop C. That might not be so easy. But again, Josie Warman's pickups are always good, and I think arguing if there's really any difference between your sort of bar magnet type and your, you know, your single individual poles, it looks more interesting. I mean, definitely the bar magnet. I think the original idea for that was like if you've got a tremolo, so when you bend the strings down, the strings might bend further away than the pole, so a bar magnet gives you a much more even response over the top. It's also good for string spacing. If you've got like odd string spacing on your guitar, you know, the strings are either much closer together or slightly further apart or whatever, this doesn't have to line up quite as much. As long as they're over the bar, you're laughing. Whereas if the poles aren't exactly in below the strings, you know, if it's got poles, it kind of, I don't know how much of a difference it makes, but once you notice that they're not in line, you start hearing a difference. Whether there is one or not, I don't know. But that's why I like these are the bar. I quite often use the wee hot rails, which none of the guitars I could see just now have them. It's like the wee dual blade ones. They're good because you can put them in a bass or anything. It doesn't really matter as long as the magnets are in below the strings. They're set to rock. I'll try. Not actually tried this clean. See, I'm so used to using single coils now that I just have, if I'm playing clean, I want single coils or coil splits. They just don't cut it, humbuckers. A lot of people do play clean with humbuckers, but a wee bit of drive. Okay, but that. sell that Zach Wild overdrive pedal. I keep trying it out. I quite like it. The reason I like it is because it's MXR, which are a good make, and it's Zach Wild. Okay, I saw Ozzy Osbourne play at Download last year, and I don't like Zach Wild. It's the first time I'd ever seen Zach Wild. I've seen Ozzy a couple of times, but it was never with Zach Wild. It was with Joe Holmes, who I think was a sort of session-y guitarist, and I saw him years ago. And Zach Wild just played a big 20-minute solo, and I think he swapped guitar about 4 times with all this sort of horrible SG swap, with bits of a flying V stuck to it, and he basically just kept playing pentatonic licks, and it was like, the sort of hey, hey, hey. For 20 minutes, and you're just like, fuck off. I can't be bothered with guitar solos. Guitar solos are amazing, see when you've got the whole band playing, but a guitar solo when it is, and it's just the guitar on your own for 5 minutes, it's boring. I don't care whether you're Mjolnir Malmsteen or Steve Vai or whatever. Even when you see Tony Iommi does it, and in the 70s anyway, and Brian May, it's guitar solo, go to the bar. I love a guitar solo when the backing band's in, when you get bass and drums behind it, it's great, or for a short period, it's great when you get like a sort of ding, band back in, bang, back in again, yeah, top enough shit there. So, gax30, yeah, if you see one cheap enough, I think you're talking under 100 quid, and I'd imagine the pickups that were in it, even though I didn't try them out because I didn't have strings on it when I got it, I'd imagine they're probably alright. Ibanez, not quite as much as Yamaha. Yamaha don't make shit stuff. Ibanez don't make I don't think they make shit stuff either, really. Ibanez always feel a bit soulless, or like they're modern. They're basically the Ibanez RG I'm not a fan of, but it's quite cool. It's got a sort of slightly different look to it. Rock and roll.